Castro, Welburn Castro. Welcome to the Fresno Betsuin Hondo, and we look forward to hearing you this morning, your Dharma message and about Eco Sangha. Thank you, Reverend Castro.
Thank you for the invitation, and I am so sorry that I'm not able to be there in person. Just with the COVID surge that's going on, I calculated that if I went to Fresno and I got COVID on the plane, that I would then be quarantined up there, and you'd have to feed me for 5 days. And so I'm being very compassionate to you by not being there in person. No, actually, my sister is also there in Madera, and I wanted to see her for her 80th birthday, and so I'm missing out on a lot by not going up there and being able to meet with you and to talk with you informally. But yesterday, we had the Eco Sangha seminar, and of course, the basis of Eco Sangha is to be a Buddhist is automatically, you are automatic, just the way we see things, the way we see the world and existence. We are automatically an ecologist and a conservationist. So not just ecology as science, but we go beyond that. We talk about values, the value of compassion, and trying to preserve the beauty of this world and to sustain the beauty of this world and people's welfare. I have to tell you, in preparation for my talk today, I was going through my things and I came across an article, and I never throw anything away, so I going through my things, I find an article from your Geppo newsletter, April 2008. And the title of the article is Me and My Scooter. And it's written by Glenn Hamamoto. And he talks about purchasing his motor scooter, which gets, he says, approximately 80 miles per gallon. And then he says, there's not much available right now as far as, and reliable as far as electric vehicles. And so he decided ultimately on the scooter. I just thought how much has changed since 2008. We have all these electric vehicles. My neighbor across the street let me use their e-bike and to try it out. And I said, this is like riding a motorcycle. It's except you just twist the handlebar and you're going, and it's very quiet. So anyway, yesterday I talked a lot about the Buddhist teaching of non-self, and that sounds kind of negative in some ways. If we put it positively, it's to be selfless, meaning that you are aware of the larger picture, that we don't stand alone, that we are always part of the people around us and the all sentient beings, as Sensei said today in the Vandana and Tisarana, may all sentient beings attain enlightenment, or that was in the echo. But yesterday, as I said, I talked about non-self, and I want to tell two stories. And so I was told, keep it short, Sensei, KISS, keep it short, Sensei. So the first one I want to tell you about, it comes from Seattle, and in Seattle, we have a campfire group, and the campfire has the Karuna Award. So these students were studying for the Karuna Award, and one of the requirements was to write an essay on gratitude. And then I was asked to read and comment on these essays. So I start reading them. Every one is almost identical. And it's basically a shopping list or a list. And it says, gratitude. I am grateful for my parents. I'm grateful for my teachers. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for my education. I'm grateful for my health. Namo Amida Butsu. And so after I read all of them, and I said, well, you're not writing in a spiritual sense. You're not really writing in a Buddhist sense. It's a very selfish sense that you've written in. And, students are kind of taken aback. I said, you've got to take it a step further. And the Buddhist teaching of selflessness means these things go through you. You live interdependently. So other people's lives are part of your own life. So the next step beyond that is I am grateful for my parents. I'm grateful for my teachers. The same list. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for my education because it allows me to give back, to give to other people. It's not just that it comes to me and it stays with me. It goes through me. Shinran Shonin says, benefiting self and benefiting others. It's the same thing. When you benefit others, you benefit yourself. And truly, if you really benefit yourself, you're benefiting others. And so this is the profound sense of interrelatedness that Buddhism talks about. Now, I want to tell you another story. And actually, this one goes way back to when I first started at the San Francisco Buddhist Temple in 1977. And it must have been just like today, Ohigan and the start of Dharma school. And so the kids are coming back, and I see one of them that I know pretty well, and I say to her, "Oh, she's a maybe high school junior, senior at that time. Today she's probably about 60 years old, which is really shocking to me. But at that time she was 17, 18 years old, maybe 16, 17. So um, I said, "Oh, hi, Suzanne. How was your summer?" And she says, "Oh, it was fine, but I have a question. I went to Chinese Baptist Bible camp. My friend invited me to the Chinese Baptist Bible camp. And when they found out I was a Buddhist, of course, I'm going to start working on her. That's the nature of proselytizing, put you on the defensive." So they said, when they found out I was a Buddhist, they asked me, "Do you have a personal relationship with the Buddha like we have with Jesus Christ?" And that same question would be asked today. This is not just 40 years ago. This is still the same kind of question would be asked of you. And we have to be able to explain our religion and not to be defensive about our religion. And so I said to Suzanne, I said, "Of course not. Of course we don't have a personal relationship with the Buddha as like they have with Jesus Christ." And you could say their perspective is very dualistic, and Jesus Christ is outside of them. And we have the teaching of other power, but it doesn't mean other power outside of us. It means other than selfish power. So we shouldn't think of Amida Buddha as out there. So when I answered her, I said, "No, we don't have a personal relationship with the Buddha. The Buddha is our identity. It's oneness. You don't have a relation. When you have oneness, you don't have a relationship with it. It's who you are, to discover who you are and your identity. So don't be defensive about Buddhism. Buddhism is very strong, understanding self, understanding others, understanding the oneness of all existence." And so I have two sons, and they both, when they went through school, they were constantly approached by people wanting to convert them. And I found that over the years working at the temples, people, especially in years past, were very reluctant to admit that they were a Buddhist because they felt like people would attack them or make them defend their religion. What do Buddhists believe? And people will often they think of religion as a belief system. What do Buddhists believe? And I'm very fond of saying, especially to fundamentalists, I'm very fond of saying, oh, we don't believe anything. And they look at me very strangely. What do you mean you don't believe anything? What a flaky religion. And I say, no, it's not belief. We start with experience. You can believe any weird superstitious thing. It doesn't make it true, So we start with not with a belief, which is the way I was raised. I was raised with the credo, and credo starts off, and this is in the Catholic tradition. I believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth. And I think when I realized I wasn't Catholic or Christian was when I realized I don't believe anything in the credo. And it was refreshing to me, the first of the Four Noble Truths. It doesn't start with belief, doesn't say I believe in, it says I experience pain. And dukkha is, I talked a lot about yesterday. Dukkha means, it means a lot of things, and there's no one English translation, but it's important to understand what the experience, not the belief of. I don't say, I believe I'm in pain. I say, ouch. So it's important to understand what dukkha means. It can mean depression. It can mean doubt. It can mean arrogance. It can mean anger. Separation from loved ones is painful. Separation from pets is painful. And so we start in our tradition with experience. And the whole focus of Buddhism, in a nutshell, if you were to describe Buddhism in the simplest possible way, you would say the Buddha teaches what is the cause of dukkha, or what is the cause of dissatisfactory states of mind, and what is the elimination of them. That's essentially what Buddhism is about. So I hope I didn't talk too long. I hope I made sense. And again, I look forward to, I've got to get down there. I've got to see my sister because I haven't seen her since 2016. We talk on the phone a lot, but she's not in good shape to travel. So I know she's not going to come up here to Seattle. And so I'm the youngest of three children, and I'm the only one probably that can still travel. So I've got to go see my brother in Redding and my sister in Fresno, two of the hottest places that I know of. And so going along, concluding with Ohigan, I would say another aspect of Ohigan is that it is the best time to be a Buddhist, in the spring and in the fall, after you've gone through the fog and the chill of winter there in Fresno. After in Seattle, we've gone through really the dark days of November and December and January. And it's so nice when you have this equilibrium, when you have more of a sense of harmony. And so when the temperature is 111 and you're getting cranky, and think back to today, this is the day to listen to the Dharma, to absorb the Dharma. If you can't be a good Buddhist today, there's not going to be any hope this winter or when the hot weather of summer comes. So I wish you all well. Have a wonderful Ohigan, and I look forward to seeing you in person. Thank you very much. Namanda Betsuin, Namanda, Namanda.